You're watching the Hong Kong Racing Show, a look at all things Hong Kong racing related, viewed through a North American lens. I'm Andrew Brown, joined by my co-pilot, Alex Evers, and we've got another massive show ahead for you. Joining us in just a few moments, Hall of Fame trainer David Hayes. He's going to be joining us live from Sha Tin as we get ready for Champions Day next weekend. Got plenty to talk to David about. We'll also find you a few winners at Sha Tin this weekend a little later in the show. But let's bring in Alex, who's getting ready to head off to Honkers. Looking forward to set sail again, Alex.
Yep, it's been 2 weeks at home. Starting to get that travel itch again. Can't wait to get back. And it looks like an incredible card. I'm really, really excited to see Mr. Brightside, one of Hayes' son's horses. Ran there with Romantic Warrior. He's actually probably the horse that I'm most looking forward to see that I haven't seen in the past. But what are you looking forward to, Andrew? You got anything special you're looking forward to in Champions Day?
Well, obviously Goliath. That'll be exciting from a North American perspective. But yeah, I'm with you too. I'm really, really intrigued to see Mr. Brightside. And of course, Ka Ying Rising. So we'll be able to talk to David about those two horses shortly. Lots of positive feedback. Thank you to everybody that commented and everything on last week's show with Umberto Rispoli and his next couple of weeks as he gets ready to ride journalism in the Kentucky Derby. It was a really great show, and plenty of news around too, Alex. Angus Chung had a really great night at Sha Tin last weekend, riding his first ever Sha Tin treble. I think he's had a treble at Happy Valley before, including victory aboard Davano. So great to see Angus get that treble.
Yeah, and Devano, we talked about the Classic Series and what horses generally come out of that. And we had, in the past Beauty Generation, who didn't win one of the races, come out of that series and be a star. And Devano's progressing properly through the ranks, and he's won with J-Mac on, he's won with Angus on, he's won 1400, he ran incredible at 1600. So it almost seems like they've got him kind of figured out after the Classic Series, and he's more relaxed, he shuts off a little bit more, and he finishes off his runs better. So an exciting horse to join the sprint ranks there and has that daunting task of facing Ka Ying Rising later on in his career.
Yeah, for sure. Speaking of trebles, Andrea Azzini also riding really well. He had a treble at the Valley during the week. And shout out to Jamie Richards too. If Jamie's watching with a double a training double at Happy Valley on Wednesday. Couldn't have been better timing too, Alex. I hear his mum and dad were in town from New Zealand to enjoy it all.
Oh, that's awesome. You'd love to see that.
All right, well, shall we bring David Hayes in?
Let's get Hazy in.
We are counting down the days to Champions Day at Sha Tin, and it could be a very big day if your last name is Hayes. We're excited to be joined by Hall of Fame trainer David Hayes. And David, the world's best sprinter, Ka Ying Rising, had a barrier trial on Thursday morning. How pleased were you?
Yeah, he normally wins his barrier trials, but he was in elite company and he won as he liked. And he just basically had his legs stretched for the big day in 10 days' time. And I'm pleased to report he's eaten up and pulled up beautifully. So that'll be his main hit out before next Sunday.
Great to hear. Undefeated this season, chasing a record equaling 8 wins in a season, which has included 3 Group 1s. You knew you had a good horse on your hands, David, but has he even surprised you with what he's accomplished this season?
He definitely has surprised me. I thought he was an upper class horse when he won his trials with the boys down at Lindsay Park, but the boys and the team that looked after him shake their head how good he's become. He's one of these 6 Hong Kong success stories.
Oh, he absolutely is. And in terms of competition in the Chairman's Sprint Prize, you've forced California Spangle into retirement. He won't be lining up. Helios Express has seen plenty of Ka Ying's rump this season. Is there anyone in the field you're weary of at all?
You've got to respect the Japanese horse that won the lead up. He ran third in the international behind Ka Ying, and then he's since won the champion sprint in Japan. They're not noted for their sprinters, but I saw him work past the other morning. He's a classy horse. Then, of course, Hong Kong has their last ex-champion making a comeback, Lucky Swain S, who's been trialling well.
Oh, yeah.
And Victor, the winner that's performed on the international stage. So it won't be a walk in the park, but I think he'll be a pretty short price favourite.
Hazy, with rain in the forecast, is that something you're concerned with, of potentially running on a rain-affected track for the first time?
Unbelievable. He goes faster. Bring it on.
That was my only
I
fear
think he
for the
broke his
Everest.
track record on a rain-affected track. It's funny here.
Uh, There we go.
No,
Perfect.
he's very good on his trials in Australia were off wet tracks, and he's had a couple of wins where they've had a foot of rain the day of the race. So
Okay.
no, it doesn't worry him,
Perfect.
and it'll be
Okay.
better for my son's horse, Brightside.
Oh, true. And we'll get to that in a sec. But I just want to ask you, we've had Zach Purton on this show a few times, and the last two times he's been on, he's mentioned to us just how good Ka Ying goes over the dirt and how much he'd love to try him over the dirt in America. Are we any chance? I mean, I'd take a Breeders' Cup turf sprint or dirt. Are we any chance, David, of seeing him in America one of these days? I know you've got a big race coming up at Randwick in a few months' time.
Yeah, he's running for, I'll put it in US dollars this weekend, just under 4 million US this weekend. And he's running for probably to the winner, 8 million US in the Everest, which is the richest turf race. So if you can get them to up their stake money a bit, we might look at it.
It's it's the pride, David. The Breeders' Cup World Championships.
It's just a bit close to our big sprint, and he is at the Hong Kong's darling at the moment. I think the Breeders' Cup's in early November.
Yeah.
The logistics are pretty hard to get him there and have him peaking with an Everest in between. I just think it's he can dream, but I don't think we'll be doing it.
Right. Alex was telling me just before you joined us that Alex, you photographed one of David's horses in the US. Is that right?
Yeah, the first horse of yours I photographed was Anamato in the American Oaks back in '07.
Yeah, she
And
ran well. She was beaten,
yeah,
I think, about a half a length and didn't just got a bit of interference, but she put a really good run up. She did. And it was a real thrill to be there competing in America. I must admit, we really enjoyed it in the late
very cool.
Hollywood Park.
Yeah, my home track there in my backyard.
Yeah, what a shame.
I know.
So
And
I bet
so,
you go, Alex.
Hazy, you mentioned Mr. Brightside. What does it mean to have your boys in Hong Kong with a horse in the Champions Day meet with you?
Oh, look, I'm really excited. I've been encouraging to bring him here and put him on the radar, and the timing was just right to bring him this year. And there's no Golden 60 up here, but there's a very good horse, Voyage Bubble,
Mm.
who's in the top 10 ratings of horses in the world. It'll be a great race. It might be a little bit like, I don't know if you guys were too young, but the Fairy King Prawn slash Sunlight clash. I think it could be a clash like that, one of the really big ones.
I
Get me excited.
absolutely agree. And the thing about Mr. Brightside too, he is just so consistent and like he runs in group one after group one. If he doesn't win it, he's always thereabouts, isn't he? Why do you think he fits this race?
Look, he just admires his pet distance. He hasn't been over raced in Australia this campaign, and look, if he doesn't win, he normally runs second in these Group Ones. So, I count him a 10-time Group One winner because the All Star Mile is Group One now, and he won that. And I think he's 9 placings, and in those 9 placings, he's been beaten like a less than a head. So he's a super horse. His last 2 runs, he's drawn the outside and he's hit the front at the 600 basically, and been a sitting shot and just beaten. Hong Kong, they run a bit faster. He might be the one running them down, hopefully.
Yeah, for sure. It was really exciting. We can't wait to see Mr. Brightside go around against Voyage Bubble. And of course, there's always a little bit of a North American interest with a particular horse called Chang Chang Glory. The Aya were bred as well, born in Iowa. So we'll look forward to watching Chang Chang Glory if he goes around. And the Hayes family are giving yourselves a chance of a clean sweep of the 3 Group Ones. Ruby Lot heading into the QE2 Cup, if I'm not mistaken. And he's been doing well since his Classic Cup win without winning. I mean, I thought his Derby and then back to 7 furlongs in the Class 1 have both been really solid runs. How's he doing?
Look, his Derby run was better than it looked because he was in a bumping duel for probably 600 metres of the race, and it just fired him up a bit. But he still finished on and ran a solid race. I was disappointed he was favourite in that race. Then the other day, it was a warm-up race, really, and his last 400 was as good as the first 3 horses across the line.
Mm.
But on his last 2 runs, I'd be a little bit surprised if he could beat the top-rated Japanese horses. But I think he'll compete well against the Hong Kong horses, and there's a lot of money for second, third, fourth, and fifth. So that I'd expect him to finish in the first half and be pleasantly surprised if he could win.
Right, gotcha. And it's interesting, David. I've got to ask you, the three horses we've been discussing, Ka Ying Rising, Mr. Brightside, and Ruby Lot, they've all come through the Lindsay Park system in Australia. You took Ka Ying Rising and Ruby Lot off your boys, but you left them with Mr. Brightside. Was that just your way of saying, here's your birthday present and Christmas present for the next few years?
Yeah, yeah. That was right when they started training, and they were not overly well popular probably when they first started. Everyone thought they were too young, and Brightside just came through their system like these two horses, and has done an incredible job. And the sad thing is, when we bought him, I owned half of him. The boys did such a great job selling him down. That was the thing. So it was probably a $16 million sell down. But anyway, we'll just keep working here.
Well, at least you got Ka Ying Rising, eh? What about this coming weekend, Sha Tin? You've got a busy Sunday afternoon by the looks of things, and a couple of runners that caught my eye. Race 3, Solid Shalar, and race 4, Fortune Boy. Would they be two of your better chances on Sunday?
I think that the American division of tipping is right on the ball. They're my chances, probably my only chances. But yeah, I really think both of those will be very competitive, and with luck in running, should run the first three.
Great.
Beautiful.
And the Trainers' Championship, David, you're trailing your compatriot John Sires by about 7 wins. You were champion trainer the first time you trained in Hong Kong back in the 90s. How are you feeling about reeling Sires in over the next few months?
He's not an easy person to catch. He's got a great team of horses, and he's a great trainer. But I think I'll narrow the gap towards the end of the season. I've got a lot of young horses trialling well at the moment, which normally means they'll be running well in the next 6 weeks.
Right. And before we let you go, I just one thing wanted to ask you. The Thoroughbred Racing Commentary's latest global horse rankings came out during the week, and you've got Romantic Warrior up there in 1, and Ka Ying Rising in 2, Voyage Bubble in 6. We've also got 2 former Hong Kong jockeys, Umberto Rispoli and João Moreira, about to ride the favourite and around the 3rd or 4th favourite in the Kentucky Derby. What does all this say about Hong Kong racing as a product?
Oh, I think it says everything. It's such a competitive place. I think people are starting to really realise that you have to stand up and take notice.
Yeah,
they've really developed their product brilliantly, and it's one of the racing jurisdictions that's absolutely thriving.
Yeah, 100%. Alex, anything else for Hazy before we let him go?
No, Hazy, thank you for your time. We'll get you out of the rain there.
Thank you. Thank you.
Appreciate your time,
Thank
mate. Good luck this weekend and Champions Day next week. Thank you. Awesome to have David Hayes join us. Time now to find you a couple of winners at Sha Tin this weekend. The feature race is the Hong Kong Lions Cup over the 9 furlongs on the C+3 turf course. Number 1, 5G Patch, hasn't won for a while. 2, Helene Feeling, should appreciate the step up to 1,800 metres after running well for second behind Voyage Samurai last out over the mile. Number 4 is Voyage Samurai, the last out winner. Number 5, Winning Dragon, draws well in 1 and has Brenton Abdullah aboard. 7, Bundle Award, bound to get plenty of support with Purton aboard, ran well in the Derby last out for 7th, and 8 Steps Ahead. Also comes out of the Derby, where he was 9th. Speed Map has Voyage Samurai and Pray for Mur leading the charge. Alex, who do you like here?
Interesting race. It seems like Voyage Samurai runs his better runs when he's kind of alone on the lead, and the C+3 course should help him. I don't know if Pray for Mur is going to have to go as forward and press on with that lightweight from barrier 11 from the far outside. The 1800, and we've talked about it before, it kind of can play differently as far as the pace is concerned, where horses kind of like hold up and try to save some energy for the last little bit. But I think in this one, I'm going to go with Bundle Award, who was impressive in his Derby run. Came up a little bit short there at the 2,000 meters. I like him over Voyage Samurai, and then the ever consistent Helene Feeling in there for third with Harry Bentley aboard. What about you, Brownie?
I agree with Bundle Award. I've got him in for second, but I quite like Steps Ahead here, 9th in the Derby, so 2 placings behind Bundle Award in the Derby, but didn't have the clearest run up the stretch. Drew 13 on that day too, so was taken back to near last. And of course, we all remember just how slow that race was run. So to make ground like he did with a checkered passage up the stretch along the fence there, I think was a pretty positive performance. One over this distance, 3 back from a more forward position. So Lyle Hewitson might have that option up his sleeve with a much smaller field. So give me Steps Ahead on top. Hardest to beat Bundle Award, Helene Feeling for third. My best bet, Alex, we just talked to David about him. Race 3, number 1, Solid Shalaha. Do you have a best bet, or are you going to stick with your selection there in the feature race?
No, I'm looking at a best bet. I'm looking at Stellar Swift there in the last race. I always tend to pick these last races to stay up all night to watch them. Actually, I'll get a plane, so it'd be hard for me to watch these races this week. But yeah, I kind of like Stellar Swift a little bit with Harry Bentley in the finale. We got some horses coming out of winning victories with South Star, Another World, and Juno Pride. So interesting race, but I'm going to look at that one.
Might be a big night for Hazy this weekend, and possibly another big one next weekend. Well, safe travels. We're looking forward, obviously, to seeing all your incredible work and all your beautiful pictures starting early next week in the run into Champions Day at Sha Tin on Saturday night, North American time. Hope you have an awesome trip, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And then on to Kentucky Derby after that.
Kentucky Derby. I love it. All right. Well, thanks, Alex. And thank you, everybody, for watching. And we'll see you next week on the Hong Kong Racing Show.